What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, everybody, check it out, man. So I was tripping off of this tweet from Gary from Nerdrotics, basically talking about the writer's strike. We're at the 1-year anniversary of the writer's strike coming to an end. You guys will remember last summer, like basically all of Hollywood was shut down on lock. Okay, everybody was locked out of Hollywood. The writers were on strike. The actors were on strike, you know, and that meant like IATSE and the Teamsters, they were basically in de facto on strike. Nobody was working. Basically, the whole film industry was shut down all the way around. And there were a lot of projects during that time that basically bit the dust. You know, TV programs bit the dust. Movies had to get pushed back or maybe canceled out altogether, you know. And so now, 1 year later, everybody's saying, hey, look, everything that we did in that summer, all the walking up and down in the hot ass sun, cussing out the studios, did that actually bear any fruit? Did we get anything out of that? And this headline basically says, okay, you know, the WGA leadership, all right, they're reflecting on the strength of the contract, but the members are struggling. All right. So to me, this is a failed strike right here. If the members are still struggling, you didn't get the job done. The whole point of a union going on strike in the first place is to, you know, hey, the members are currently struggling, and now we want to get them into a better position, whether it's more pay, you know, better medical benefits. I think that was another thing that they were looking for, better medical benefits, bonus structures, kind of revamping, whatever. You know, they trying to get some stuff. But if the members are still struggling, then it's like, what did we do all of this for? We stood out here, and you can see like the little picture of these cats out here in the sun, just sweating it out, all right, drawing little funny article or signs and all that, all of the stuff that they did, okay? What did they get out of it? Nothing, okay? They absolutely got nothing out of it. Gary said, yeah, no shit, the members are struggling. It's like, yo, we kind of told y'all that this was going to happen. You know, on the other end of the strike, this was absolutely going to happen. And in my opinion, what I said during that time, a lot of it is, hey, if you're a writer, you need to start thinking more independently. You need to start getting out there and seeing if you can get something going on your own, because on the other side of the strike, there is not going to be any work. They were already pulling back from, you know, the TV shows that were being made. They were already pulling back from those. So it's like, yeah, man, it might be time to start thinking of your future in the entertainment industry in a whole different way. All right. In a completely different way. But yeah, I was tripping off of this. I actually went to the article and checked that out. And then basically they're saying, yeah, it was a historic 148-day strike against the major Hollywood studios, a few days shy of the Guild's longest strike ever. The WGA managed to secure just about everything the members had picketed in the hot summer sun for. But, you know, while many writers had hoped that the new year would bring relief after more than 5 months without work, the reality has been much less promising. And what are they saying? Yeah, the last year was certainly a win for the WGA. The union also has to contend with the fact that many of its members are still unable to find a writing job. Exactly. See, that's the problem, man. On the other side of the strike, there was not going to be as much work. They were already pulling back, and now they're pulling back even more. Because I was like, hey, look, man, we only going to pay the tippity top of the writers. Everybody else, go find something else to do. And so now all of them people, all of them cats that was marching up and down with the signs on their shoulders, you know, hell no, we won't go, or whatever the hell. I forgot what the mantra was for it. All right. But yeah, they're not getting it done now. Okay. And you know what the new mantra is? You know what the new mantra is for writers? Okay. Survive till 25. All right. Why is everyone saying survive till 25 in Hollywood? The mantra is a harbinger of doom for 24, but it doesn't have to be. So basically they're saying, look, work ain't happening right now. We just got to get to 25. Okay. We just got to get to 2025. As soon as we get to 2025, everything's going to turn around. It's going to be great. All right. Yeah. And then it says we are 4 months into 24. All right. So this article was written back in April, right? Yeah, April 4. All right. This article was written back in April. The year already has a slogan, survive till 25. This damning phrase has been uttered by agents, managers, lawyers, producers, studio execs, prop masters, and everyone in between. What does it actually mean? And then they get into it. Basically saying, yeah, we just got to make it till 25. All right. So buckle down, you know, tighten up your little belts, you know, hunker down, save your bread. By the time we get to 2025, everything going to be just fine. Don't even worry about it. Everything going to be just fine. But here's the problem. We are at the end of 24. All right. We are at the end of 2024. And guess what? The writers are still struggling. OK, the members are still struggling at the end of 24. So it doesn't look like things are moving in a positive direction, in other words. OK, and look, check this out. Yeah, CBS News covered this exact same situation right now with the Hollywood strike. It says here, do writers think the strike was worth it 1 year later? And the person they interview is this journalist from The Ankler, who basically says, like, yeah, you know, most people will say behind closed doors, oh, yeah, the strike was good. It worked out. It's no problem there. But there are a lot of people that have been left out in the cold, in other words. OK, so, yeah, let's just go ahead real quick. Let's listen to this interview by CBS and I'll react to it.
Still hasn't fully recovered. Elaine Lowe is a staff writer for The Ankler. She spoke with more than a dozen union members about this and joins us now. Elaine, good to have you with us. So as I understand it, a lot of people in public are saying, yes, it was absolutely worth it. But when they talk to you privately, they say, I'm not so sure. Tell us more about your reporting.
So for the record, the overwhelming majority of writers that I've spoken to, whether on the record or on background, have all told me that they do feel like the strike was ultimately worth it, as they were looking for a more sustainable way for their profession to continue for the next generation.
Now, just keep in mind, these are the writers that she spoke to. All right. These are whoever she spoke to. There's a whole lot more writers that she didn't speak to, and I bet you they have a whole lot more to say. We're going to get to those deadline comments in just a moment, but let's continue.
You know, a lot of them have seen some of those changes to the contract in action already over the past year, whether that's the increased weekly salary minimums or the viewership-based streaming bonuses. But at the same
Look, just look at all these people out here, okay? These are the people that got that are on the outside looking in, all right? These are the people that marched up and down. They sweated it out in the sun, and these are the ones that are now like, damn, there's no work. Like, where's the work? Okay? You know, from the actors, there's some actors mixed in here along with the writers, okay? These are all the people that are on the outside looking in. You know, I always use the analogy of that hungry person, you know, like peering through the restaurant window. Like, damn, man, they sure eating good up in there, man. Damn, that person eating a steak. Oh, man, I'm sure their stomach growling is fun. Like, they hungry, but they peering through the window and seeing what's going on. They on the outside looking in. You know, that's basically what's happening.
And it's been a really rough year for the industry. And the bleakness of the current TV landscape makes it really hard to appreciate some of the achievements of the strike. And, you know, in some private conversations that I've had with high-level TV agents, you know, I talked to one recently who said that his clients are frustrated because there isn't a lot of work and feel like, you know, some of the changes, you know, not having mini rooms, having higher premiums have contributed to, you know, writers' rooms not being in action.
I mean, this is the stuff we was talking about. That, okay, we got to pay the writers more. If we got to pay the actors more, and movies in general are just getting more and more expensive, we got to cut production and we got to put quality over quantity. You keep hearing that thing getting bandied about. All right. Bob Iger and all kind of other people have said quality over quantity. So that means what? Less shows. Okay. And less shows means what? Less writers. And we ain't gonna have as many of y'all because we got to start pumping out quality, not quantity. We've been bombarding these streaming networks for too long with too much crap. All of these crappy TV shows, and nobody's watching them. Nobody's watching this trash. So we got to get back to quality. But if we're going to get back to quality, we need quality writers. And a lot of you jokers out there in the industry, y'all are not quality writers. You got to go back and work on your craft. All right. I'm telling them. This ain't to diss. Go work on your craft. Get out there and start doing independent work. Okay? Make something of yourself and then let people discover who you are. Like, damn, this writer, whoever wrote this, is pretty damn good. That's where we need to start getting the writers of Hollywood and all of these, you know, television and movie writers. We need to get y'all back into the lab, man. Y'all got work to do. Some of the crap that we've been watching on television, some of the shit that's on television right now is garbage. And I know a lot of it is on the showrunners. But a lot of it is on y'all too. So the writers got to get back to work. All right. And any writer that is worth their salt shouldn't have a problem with that. Yo, I got to get back to the lab. I got to work on my craft. I can't just sit back crying and marching up and down in the sun for more money. Okay. That's not going to get it done, because basically by doing that, I cut myself out of this whole industry, you know? So now what you going to do? Wait tables? Okay. You got to go and start doing some independent stuff, man. I'm waiting for somebody, a group of, content writers, directors, actors, or whatever, just to put up just like a pure challenge. Hey, man, we're just doing our own thing, and we ain't never looking at Hollywood. And just put that up on YouTube or something. Man, I'm telling you, man, that might actually take off. Instead of just crying and trying to get back into Hollywood. It's ridiculous.
And another showrunner I spoke to felt as though the Guild could have better used some of their leverage, which was, in concurrent as with the SAG-AFTRA strike that was also happening last year, to seek out gains for its membership.
Well, and on that question, I'm wondering, Elaine, really, if one of the concerns is about the decline in the amount of new shows and projects that are being greenlit.
We're coming off of this era of so-called peak TV. There were 600 scripted TV series on the air in 2022, really coming down from the peak of that bubble now. But nobody really knows where that's going to land.
No. Look, see, and that's the thing. I can tell you exactly where it's going to land. It's going to land in the laps of the writers, okay, who will not have work. They're going to reduce it from, probably, 600, whatever it was, to like 300. If not more. And keep in mind, there are like shows made in other, like if you're talking about like Netflix, there's shows made in other countries that run circles around the stuff made in this country. And people are like, yo, give me just good entertainment. I don't care. Look, the way things are going right now, all right, and this is just my opinion. I could be wrong. But the way I see things going right now, we're slowly but surely starting to get back to, hey, you got to be good at your job, okay? We need talent again. We can't, look, the DEI era of just hiring people based on some immutable characteristics, that's over. If you are not good at your job, you got to go. We are not sitting here trying to pour more money into this crap. BlackRock and all of these other places, be damned. We are not going to continue to go down this road. Because this stuff doesn't make money, and we're starting to lose our ass, especially with this economy the way it is. Again, we were talking about this on George the Giant Slayer. It is a self-correcting problem in the video game industry that, hey, you keep screwing around like this, and gamers just ain't rocking with it. Gamers are just going to check out. You're starting to see the same thing in the film and television industry, just like in a slower pace, just a little bit slower. People still watch Agatha, it still did do some numbers. It just ain't the numbers that it probably should have been doing, but you're starting to see stuff like The Acolyte, okay? The normies are checking out because they're like, this is garbage. It's Star Wars, but it's garbage. I'm not watching it. I'm checking out. And that's the difference. Slowly but surely, you writers are going to actually have to be good at what it is you're doing. Otherwise, you are not going to be able to make a living off of your writing. The days of just handing jobs to people because you're a certain race, a certain color, or maybe you're, it's like some nepotism, somebody that knows somebody or whatever. I think those days are slowly coming to an end. There's going to be some of that. There always will be some of that. But I think it's going to be less than it was over the last 8 to 10 years. Over the last 8 to 10 years, man, it's just ridiculous. Man, there was all kind of bullshit going on. Wait a minute, man. How did this person get a job? How did J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay get their hands on Lord of the Rings? Oh, because we knew J.J. Abrams. But look what they did to it. Yeah, we gotta stop all of that crap. We're handing good franchises to morons, and they're absolutely destroying it. So yeah, I think those days are coming to an end. It might not be as fast as we want it to be, but I think slowly but surely, this again is a self-correcting problem. It's going to fix itself eventually.
We're kind of in the era where all of these streaming platforms have been looking for content to fill their pipelines and to make sure that there's enough there to entice paying subscribers. But now that there's increased scrutiny from Wall Street and increased scrutiny on these balance sheets, there's really been a pare back from that period of time. So if you're looking at, what is it now, 400 shows, maybe the new number is going to be 300 scripted shows on air. That's still a lot of shows, but that's, a 50 or 40% pullback from the peak of that era. And so that's going to mean fewer jobs on the market.
All right.
And that's a contraction that had already started well before the strikes.
Yeah, and on the heels of that, I wanted to jump right to the deadline comments and just read what some of these writers are saying. Here's a writer saying, it's horrible out here. Anonymous, it's horrible over here in the UK too. 75% of freelancers out of work, an entire middle tier of drama being written off, entry-level drama shows being canceled. It's a royal mess, and hardly any of my colleagues are working. Truly grim. Yeah, you don't have to get out and change up what you're trying to do if you want to write write for a living, okay? Trying to jump into these industries, it's going to get tougher and tougher and tougher. And it's never been more accessible for you to go out and do your own thing. That's what my recommendation is, because I think it's going to be really rough to try to break into the film industry. This guy, kudos to anyone who stayed in this business. I would have gotten my accounting degree instead, LOL. This article is in the same denial that everyone who struck was in. The studios had no money, but the creatives didn't know that because, surprise, surprise, they never took the time to know the business they so desperately wanted to work in. They just moved to LA and said, hey, mom, I made it. Now studios pay me what I deserve. But most of the shows were mid, weren't making the studios any money. It's all lazy, lazy, lazy on every level at every step. So what people should have done was argued AI alone, kept their head down, and be satisfied that they were building a resume in the first place now. And I don't know what else he says, but that made a lot of sense to me. Okay. You're going to have to hustle. You're going to have to work. Trolls, get a life. Hilarious. All the non-writers pretending to be writers, complaining about the dumb guild. We writers are the guild. Yes, many of us are out of work right now, but that has nothing to do with the strike or the deal. The deal we got is incredible. The business is fundamentally changing and was as soon as Netflix opened its doors. Actual writers know the deal is great and the times are currently very difficult. I mean, but again, you're saying that these people are trolls and they're non-writers, but what you're saying kind of mirrors what they're saying. All right. They're saying that whatever it was, the deal, it's now not working to our benefit. The WGA has failed us. I'm not a troll. I'm a WGA writer who has sold over 10 pilots. I will not ever strike again. I want to go FICOR. The guild has failed us, plain and simple. First, we fired agents en masse, even though many listers continued working them as producers. Then we went on strike with no plan of action. The most hurt are the minorities. The most protected are the old hacks. This is what I said, okay? The people at the bottom are the ones that was marching up and down, and they the ones that's assed out. The old cats, the people that are legacy writers, they've been doing this for 30, 40 years. They good. They good. They ain't going nowhere. In fact, they making even more money than before. So, you know, if you got in like in the game like 30 years ago, you probably straight. You good. You're happy. Everybody else is like, fuck, man, it's rough out here. Not to mention the lack of business acumen in this guild and leadership. They have to buy more. No, they don't. Suits was the biggest hit for Netflix. TikTok and YouTube eat up all our kids' viewing time. They simply don't need to buy more ever. Count me out of this circus we call the WGA. I mean, what have I been saying? All right. These cats are saying the same thing that we've been saying. The game is completely changed. YouTube and TikTok, that's where it's at. It's really incredible, man, and people don't seem to understand that. I've been a WGA member for 23 years, and this is the most accurate assessment of what we have endured under our foolhardy leadership. Plus, the guild totally caved on the AI issue. I'm getting first draft scripts written by AI. I'm expected to polish these turds. Plus, my feedback will not be from a development exec or a story analyst. My feedback will come from an AI system that will churn out coverage in 7 minutes. Wow. Whew. I'm telling you, writers, get out there and do something on your own. Stop baking on Hollywood, okay? It's going to be a grind, but you're going to have to build something new, okay? A year after the writer's strike, where you guys fought and sweated it out there in the Sunset Boulevard sun to get some more, you guys got less. You're going to have to go back to the lab. You're going to have to work on your craft, and you're going to have to build something new. And you got another guy, Anonymous. Clearly, there was a contraction coming, and everyone knew that. That said, we have to acknowledge that there were a lot of specific jobs and shows and films that were killed by the strike. If you were on a show that got unpicked during the strike, that wasn't an industry trend. That was the strike, exactly. If you were on a show that got its order cut, also the strike. If you had a movie canceled or an overall deal killed, also the strike. Was pain on the way? Sure. Did the strike accelerate the pain for many? Absolutely. People who might have had a chance to prepare for the contraction lost that chance. And it seems to me that in all the rah-rah rhetoric around the strike, we should at least acknowledge that. What's so hard about saying that the strike hurt these guys? That, like, to me, that's obvious. Okay, yeah, there was some pullback, there was some contraction, but there were also a ton of lost jobs. And there was the move that said, hey, by increasing the amount of money that studios are going to have to pay, there's going to be even less jobs on the line or on the market going forward. Why is it hard to admit to that? I don't understand it. Was it worth it? Maybe. But the fact that we made gains doesn't erase the fact that there are trade-offs. People hold up our 5% salary bumps on minimums as this incredible victory, but they leave out the fact that the companies offered 4% on day one. Yo. So they fought for 1%? Fuck, man. That's... if you were on a show and you lost your job for the sake of a 5% increase in minimums, how long is it going to take you to make that up if you are lucky enough to get another job? Well, the math is pretty simple. For every episode you lost, you need to do 20 episodes at the new rate to get back to even. Is that worth it? You might say yes. I might say no. But to pretend that there's not a debate to be had is just willful blindness, man. I mean, look, this right here encapsulates everything. This guy said it. Yeah. There's been some hurt. There's been some pain from the strike. Everybody trying to say, oh, contraction was happening anyway. They were already pulling back. True. But the fact that now it's like, oh, you know, we had a lot of deals killed. All right. A show that got its order cut. Okay. A show that got unpicked up during the strike. Basically, they didn't renew it during the strike. All of this stuff that hurt writers. And that's money that these writers will never get back. They'll never see again. You know, and listen. I know a lot of y'all don't like the writers in Hollywood. I know a couple. And all I'm saying is, look, you got to be good. Okay. You got to be good at what it is you're doing. You can no longer rely on your diversity, your equity, or whatever. You can no longer rely on that bullshit. And you can no longer rely on the fact that you know somebody that whatever. You got to be good at your craft. You got to be good at your craft. So all the writers a year later, this should be the takeaway. Hollywood has changed and it's changing forever. We need to get back to the lab if that's what you want to do for a career. You got to go and you got to hunker down. And look, you might actually have to, hey, you know what? I got to strike it out on my own. I got to go independent. I got to talk to some of my other buddies that are actors and directors and this and that. And we got to pile together and we got to say, hey, let's make something unique and different. These clowns in Hollywood, man, they left us in the dust. All of these cats have been left in the dust, okay? The writers are struggling, okay? The members are still struggling. After all of that, the members are struggling a year later. And don't be banking on Survive Till 25 because you might not be one of the lucky people. You're going to be caught without that chair when the music stops. Anyway, folks, y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Again, this is something that they need to contend with. The fact that you may not, if you want to be a writer and you want to do this work, this line of work, you may have to strike it out on your own because Hollywood seems that they have left y'all behind, okay? They used you and they dumped you on the side of the road after they were done. Again, all of these cats that was out here marching in the sun, man, it's over. For a lot of y'all, it's over. It's time to get to work if you want to write. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.